Professor Craven, do you have an end of life plan for your shop? Oh man, yeah. Do you plan to? He says I don't know if Professor Craven is a he or a she. When they said, when my grandparents passed away, we were left to sort through cool things like still in the box railroad lanterns to hazardous things like store displays for selling DDT. Oh my God. Somebody walked into this shop about a year and a half ago and said, wow, look at all the stuff look at all the crap your family's going to have to deal with when you're dead. Yeah. I think about this all the time. Professor Craven. Yeah. What to do with this stuff. You know, one thing that I have done is I have inventoried all the costumes. That has been a key occupation over the past few years. There's over 80 now. And by costumes, I'm including movie costumes, but also safety gear like my bomb suit or my Red Man suit or fencing equipment or my beekeeping suit, all of this stuff. All of it's archived, numbered in a Google Doc that can be shared by my whole team so we can go find stuff when we need it. And that helps me now, but it is also part of an end of life plan for all this stuff. And I plan to do it for all the rest of the things because there's aspects here. If someone finds this, nobody but me and Tim now you all know what the hell this is or why it's here. So I got to start going through my stuff. I mean, the other aspect of COVID is I haven't been able to have an assistant in here working with me. And it doesn't look like I will for another 7 or 8 months. But suffice to say, I think about it all the time. I don't want to saddle my kids or my wife or my family with having to sort through all this stuff. I would love to leave a bunch of it to a place where it will get appreciated. A museum that would deal with it correctly, or a collector who would apply the love that the objects I've collected here need. And to that end, I have friends who are collectors who I have considered in my head of like, would you take the bulk of this if I go? Yeah. I know. Okay. Let's see here. Jamie Rawlinson wants to know, do you have a big prop in the making similar to the Hellboy glove that you can share? Right. The Hellboy glove was like multiple years in the construction, wasn't it? Doing the Hellboy Samaritan, which is still not done yet. Actually, here, I'll show you. You're going to love this. Here's the Hellboy Samaritan currently. I have taken all the parts and cleaned them and tumbled them. I'm going to send them out for blacking. And the only reason I haven't gotten around to it is because I have 2 or 3 other projects that also need blacking. But the Hellboy Samaritan, which is more like a month-long build than a multi-year build, I am looking at some more stuff like that. One thing I'm going to do this year is Corbin Dallas's blaster, and I'm going to do it from scratch. I'm really psyched about that one. I haven't really liked any of the replicas I've seen of Corbin's blaster. And so I'm going to do mine all out of plastic and aluminum and with good electronics. But no, I don't think there's any. You know what? Speaking of the Hellboy glove, there is a fairly involved machining project, which is there's a thing called the Millenbaum motivator at the bottom of the glove, and it's the thing that went like this, like a little typewriter or stenography machine. Sean Charlesworth, when I built the glove the first time, he helped me. He drew that in CAD and printed it out for me and printed out the parts. It was a lot of collaboration. And we have talked in the intervening years about reprinting it in metal because it's falling apart, simply because it's got some torsion on it, and the 3D prints from 10, 12 years ago just don't have the tensile strength. I want to. Sorry, Norm. I'm getting some deliveries, and poor Norm has to run in and answer the door. I want to remake the Millenbaugh motivator from scratch. I want to machine it. I think I am a good enough machinist now. Not as good as Millenbaugh, but I am a good enough machinist now, I think, to tackle that piece. And it's going to take me probably the better part of a week to get it. Yeah. How are we doing here? We've gone just about an hour. Should I wrap it up? Yeah. Okay. We're going to wrap this up with this last question. Katie Kelly wants to know, Katie Kelly, your name is very close to a star from my childhood, Kitty Kelly, who was a writer and a patient of my grandfather's, actually. Katie Kelly wants to know, I'm creating a maker type place. What would you include that isn't on the usual tools list? Ooh, that's good. What would you include? You're making a maker type place. That's a great question. The first thing I would say is craft paper, if that's not on your list. You will never regret having a roll of craft paper in your space. And really, you just need one. One roll of 36-inch wide or 24-inch wide craft paper will last you for the rest of your life. I think I've gone through 2 rolls in my life. And you can think through the amount of making that I've done. Yeah, 1 roll is going to last you for a good portion of your life. That's definitely one. What would you put on the list? You know, hanging hardware. I'm a big believer in spaces that provide inspiration. And for me, when I visit maker spaces, one of my first comments is there's not enough crap on the walls. Crap on the walls to me is inspiring. I call it visual cacophony. Other people can be overwhelmed by my space, but I like feeling overwhelmed by the space. So by design, for me, hanging stuff up is, it's a motivator. And there's a lot of different ways to hang stuff. I mean, if I had to, okay, I will move from this space into another space probably in the next 5 years. I'm just guessing that I'll probably move. And when I do, I think I may be much more directed about hanging stuff on the walls by like putting up a heavy duty top wainscoting that I can hang off of, maybe even out of welded steel, so that I don't have to worry about, well, that's brick and that's drywall and that's, I don't even know what that is, because I like to hang stuff so much. But other things that aren't on the usual tools list, I'm sort of looking around and thinking, what if you want a maker space? I mean, it's not about, see, when I think about designing a space, I really try and think as wide philosophically as I can. So to me, it's really about like the questions. You're asking me this question because you're in the middle of solving this problem, presumably. And if you're in the middle of solving this problem, you're in the middle of the exercise of how will this space serve my particular, or the group I'm building this for's particular needs? How will it fulfill my particular needs? And so I don't know if there's any specific tool item I have that would help you, because I have engineered this space to fit my particular needs and nobody else's. I mean, it becomes useful to other people simply because I'm well organized. But, you know, you walk in here, you could become overwhelmed by where the hell stuff is, and it might take a while to get into it. But if you're in the middle of the exercise of wondering how to create the space to meet your needs, you're asking all the right questions. And you should know that you're not going to get it right, because it's not a problem to solve and then be done with. As you progress, your needs will change. For instance, one of the things that COVID has done for me is it has radically increased my understanding of the infinitesimal, because I've been doing so much more work on the mill and on the lathe, where, you know, when you're working in carpentry, plus or minus a 32nd of an inch is, yeah, that's about where you're working. 32nd of an inch, that's 30 thou. Am I right about that? Yeah. But as a machinist, you're dealing with like 1,000. And the degree to which I have invested my brain with a deeper and deeper understanding means that I've been doing a lot more expenditures on tools that allow me to work very precisely at super, super tiny increments. Like, I never had a right angle block for my mill. Look at this beauty. I would have never bought this a year ago. I wouldn't have considered it something that I needed in my shop, but now I do. And it engenders, by necessity, a storage system that can accommodate it, because I think I'll be using something like this maybe once a month. So the machine area of my shop is undergoing a shift. Right now, that shift is in my brain as I'm starting to gather these new tools. I just bought myself a Hamer gauge for registering the mill. I've gotten some gauge blocks and some beautiful. But tomorrow I'm shooting a one-day build about one of my new measurement tools. And I'm super excited about it, but it's also in a gigantic box and takes up a ton of space. And I think that one of the things I do this year is I may have to make my own machinist's tool cabinet, because none out there supply me with the sheer number of storage solutions that I want for the way that I work, which is like, I want my machining area to be like a fighter pilot's cockpit with everything where I need it, when I need it, and accessible without sitting there rusting in the open air. Katie, I hope I've given you some help with this. As you can tell from my answer, I like zooming out and zooming out and zooming out and zooming out. And that's also part and parcel of my meditation practice, right? Of the watching of the watcher and the paying attention. John Kabat-Zinn says that meditation is nothing but paying attention. And that's definitely where it's at for me. And in that paying attention, you keep finding new ways in which to pay attention to yourself, to your processes, to your reactions to things, to your proclivities, to the things you do that do serve you and the things that you do that don't serve you. So you are asking all the right questions, and ask everybody. By all means, go to every maker. What should I get? What should I get? Because I'll say things like, all of my tool tips are things I think that makers like me will want in their shops and will benefit from. But as far as like secret hidden items that you might not realize, one thing I will say is you can't have too many expendables. You can't have too many X-Acto blades. And this one is something that is really, really neglected, is single-edge razor blades. Can I tell you that at Industrial Light and Magic, these were hard to find? At Jamie's shop, these were hard to find. And this is maybe my first maker tool. These were, my dad used these, and I remember sneaking into his studio to use them. Single-edge razor blades are fantastic. They're cutters, they're scrapers, they're straight edges, they're phenomenal, and they're pennies. So make sure that you build your space to accommodate the expendables that you definitely don't want to run out of on a Sunday afternoon at 4:30 p.m. when everything is closed. That is my least favorite hour in making, is when I've broken the last of my blades and it's Sunday at 4:30, and that, I'm looking at the hardware. I have suffered the ignominy of going to the hardware section of a Walgreens to find a solution to a tool problem on a Sunday afternoon, and that's no fun. One more thing I want to say about blades and the use of blades in your shop, and it is that when you are done with a blade, throw it out. But don't throw it in the garbage, because the people that collect your garbage are human beings, and they're made of soft flesh just like we are, and that can be injurious to them. You should have a repository in your shop of used and old blades, so that every blade, it's a sharps container, right? They have it in your hospital. You should have it in your shop. This is where all your old blades should go. And when it's time to throw them out, tape it up and toss it in the garbage. Now it is safe for people to handle. Don't toss those blades in the trash. That's just bad mojo. And if the good place is real and you could go ask the universe, is there anything I did that had unintended consequences? And they told you that, yeah, you threw a blade in the garbage and it cut up some guy's hand and couldn't work anymore. You would be really sad about that. Again, yeah, think about that. So, repository for your blades, be kind to each other and to yourself. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this live stream. I really appreciate it. I love the interaction, and I will continue to do it throughout 2021 and beyond. Tested patrons, your questions get better and better and better. And I really appreciate the depth to which it feels like this conversation is getting to and continues to go to. And so it's all gratitude from here. You guys be well, wear your masks, take care of each other. See you next time.